There is so much indoor training content around, especially on YouTube. Everyone seems to be doing indoor training, indoor cycling. And I just hate it. I've never been able to get into indoor cycling. I spent years trying to come around to it, trying to make it a fun, enjoyable part of my training, but it's just never worked. And I've finally left it behind. I've ditched the indoor cycling. And that's been a very liberating thing to feel like I don't have that hanging over my head anymore, that guilt to get on the trainer. So let's run through a quick history of my indoor training background. I first started doing proper indoor training probably back in 2016, 2017, mainly because I was focusing on time trials, and living in Sydney, one of the only ways that I thought I could easily get specific time trial work done was to be on the trainer. So I only used it maybe once a week, and I thought, oh, I'll just get on the trainer and I'll just do like sweet spot work in the TT position, and it'll be a good way for me to adapt to the time trial position. Then moving on to 2018, 2019, I started to work more. I got a new job.
I gotta be in at Brant Leland by 9. Why?
And I wanted indoor training to be a regular part of my training program weekly, multiple times per week. I saw the people on Instagram, I saw the YouTube videos, people doing Zwift races, people doing Zwift bunch rides, doing all this indoor stuff, these amazing pain caves that looked awesome. And through 2018, 2019, and even last year throughout the lockdown, I really tried. I tried a lot of different stuff to enjoy indoor training, but it just couldn't click for me. And most of you probably sympathetic to what I've gone through. So I tried the different trainer setups because I was like, oh, maybe if I get the awesome indoor setup, I'll enjoy it more. So I bought more fans. I had a dedicated space for it. I moved to a place that had a second bedroom, so I had it set up in there along with my desk. I tried different monitors, different screens. I tried buying like different stands so I could have my drinks and the keyboard easily accessed. There was a lot of changes to the physical space. I also tried different types of training on the trainer. So some stages I was like, I'll just do low intensity sessions on the trainer, just my endurance rides. And then other times I was like, oh no, I'll just do all my high intensity workouts on the trainer. And then other times I was like, no, I'll do the structured work outside, and then I'll just use indoor cycling for Zwift races, and I'll just try and race once a week. So I tried pretty much every avenue to incorporate it into my regular training. And then I also went down rabbit holes of staying entertained. So I went full different ends of the spectrum. I went like super calm, like podcasts, maybe a Netflix in the background just to sort of switch off and try and not think about the time because it's so damn boring. Then I also went to like heavy music. Like what I would do, I don't know if any of you have done this, I went on YouTube and looked up like DJ sets. Like, you know those Tomorrowland, they were really popular back in the day, the Tomorrowland 2-hour DJ set. And I'd have that pumping, like really trying to like G me up and be like, oh, if I can make it fun and exciting, like almost like a spin class, maybe that'll make it more fun. I tried different training softwares like Full Gas, Zwift, even being like, oh, I'll always do a Zwift group ride. So even if it's an endurance ride, I'll do it as part of a group ride on Zwift, and maybe that'll make it more fun. So I exhausted every avenue in terms of the entertainment factor, but nothing worked. I have never enjoyed indoor training. So a few months ago, I moved place again. I'm living in a different apartment now, and I've entirely ditched the indoor training setup. My indoor trainer now sits in the cupboard. I've still got the fans, I've still got the actual components, but I just haven't set it up, and I have no intention at all of setting it up. I've actually considered just selling all the stuff altogether, so it's not even a possibility. And I've really enjoyed actually not having it set up and not having the trainer there when you get that rainy day and then you're like, oh, I should get on the trainer, but I freaking hate it, it's boring. So getting rid of the setup entirely has been awesome, but I have had to make a few tweaks to be able to still train consistently without that indoor training option. So I'm going to run through the 4 considerations that I have to make now that indoor training isn't an option for me. So the first thing is to get more creative with the local loops. I found one of the reasons I would get on the trainer is because I'm like, let's say I want to do some sweet spot work, and I'd be like, well, I don't have anywhere to get a 30 or 40 minute consistent effort done without stopping. But that's not really true. I pushed myself harder to find local streets that I could go around and make loops to do a 40-minute effort. Now, there might be some corners in there might be some stop signs or things like that, but I managed to find local places that I could go and get my training done. Now, it's still not super exciting, but I find even the most boring loop on the road, even if you're just doing laps around your block, I find that more entertaining and the time goes quicker than sitting on the trainer. The second thing is that I actually wait until it's raining, and it's something I look forward to, and I just go out and I ride in the rain. It really helps that I have a gravel bike. I did a whole video on the gravel bike, but essentially now is if it's raining, I will just kit up in all my wet weather gear. I'm quite lucky to have a full Rapha wet weather outfit, and I'll go out in the rain, and I'll do like even sometimes 3 or 4 hour rides in the rain. I'll just get absolutely soaked, but because I've planned for it, I've accepted it, I've got the right bike and the right gear clothing wise, it's actually quite an enjoyable part of training when I'm out there getting long rides done when everyone else is stuck on the trainer. The third thing is just simply to plan ahead. So just as much as I enjoy going out and riding in the rain, sometimes, especially if it's like really torrential rain where it's not that safe to ride, I will just plan to have days off and plan my training schedule around that. So instead of, when I had the indoor trainer set up, on a day it was raining, I would kind of be like, oh, maybe I should just get on and do an hour or do 90 minutes. And because the training option's there and you get that sort of guilt. Whereas now what I'll try and do is if it's looking like it's going to be raining on a certain day, I will just be like, okay, I'm just going to take a rest day there, have it off. I'm not even thinking about cycling the entire day. And I just do my sessions around that. So I'm still getting my training outcomes and my training goals hit, but I'm able to just take those days off completely, and there's none of that trainer guilt that I used to get when I had the trainer set up. The fourth and final one, maybe the most important, is that I've gotten rid of the attitude that if I'm getting on the road and going for a ride, that it needs to be over an hour long. I always used to think, okay, if I've only got an hour or less, I just get on the trainer. That's just what you have to do, because who the hell rides on the road for less than an hour? But I've ditched that mentality now. You might see now if you follow me on Strava, quite often I'll go out and I'll do 45 minutes, 50 minutes out on the road. And actually what I've found doing that is that the time it takes for me to actually get in cycling kit and get out the door is actually not that much longer than it takes me to get on the trainer. If I'm getting on the trainer, it still takes a while. You kind of like open your laptop, open Zwift, set up the stuff. There is time involved in that, and I actually found the time difference to kit up and get on the road is not that much longer. So for me now, a 45 or 50 minute ride is still a good session. It's still more enjoyable for me than indoor training, and those short rides do add up. It's not a waste of time. So I'm actually not sure why I had that mentality that I would only go out on the bike if it was more than an hour. But yeah, for some reason that was in my head. I'm sure some of you maybe also have the similar thing, and ditching that was quite good. And now, yeah, you'll regularly see me out for rides under an hour long. So that's it for this video. Nothing else to mention, just an interesting thing I thought chat about because it's something I've changed in my training, and getting rid of that trainer indoor cycling FOMO was quite good for my cycling, I think. So thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.